Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast where you just can't get enough of them boys talks. It's your boy Jay Noon coming back at you again. As always, this ain't a one-man show, so everybody introduce themselves.
Just kidding, Bob.
It's still Pickles.
Fortunately, Axolotl will not be joining us today, but hopefully he'll be coming back soon. So this is for you, Ax. Sipping my vodka.
He's drinking water. Oh my! What the fuck?
You okay?
Yeah, we're good.
All right.
We're good.
You guys gonna have one of those gurgly throats for a bit, though. You know.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back to this episode. For this episode, we're going to be reviewing Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, baby. That's right. So, if you haven't watched this movie yet, just want to give out a big spoiler alert.
Uh-oh.
Ow. Yeah. But if you don't care about spoilers, feel free to stay and listen because we love to have you here. Now to pass it over to Dill for the plug and synopsis.
So just a plug, we also want to direct you to follow our Instagram and Twitter page at DemBoyzTalks for news, updates, and more pertaining to the podcast. And also, you can check us out on YouTube if you don't have Spotify, where we'll be slowly uploading our episodes there.
Just want to say the YouTube thumbnails are looking really great, Dill.
Oh,
I just wanted to say that they've been looking really good, Dill.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad you like them.
Yeah, Dill Pickles is our executive
Creative
executive director of art and design. So
yes,
credits go to Dill for the YouTube thumbnails and stuff.
Hey, it's all good. You know?
All
Just
good.
trying to do good for the podcast.
Hey.
You know, put in the work. You know.
Yeah.
you know it.
So, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is the sequel to Marvel's 2018 superhero film, where the fight for Wakanda continues, and they must protect their home, all the while mourning the death of their protector and king, T'Challa.
Thank you, Dill.
Thank
No
you.
problem.
Want to start off by saying rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman.
Mm-hmm.
Love the guy. I think he really did a good job with Black Panther, and I was really excited to have him really lead the Avengers or be a big part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it's really sad to not be able to see him, but I really think this movie did a really good job of like
Honoring him.
and paying tribute to him.
Yep.
So I think that's the first thing I want to say. Second thing I want to say is it was fire.
It was.
Yeah, I really liked it a lot. It
Fire.
do you guys want to we'll do a little bit of a plot summary for those who haven't watched it?
Yeah. Well, I'll just say that I've already told these lads, but 2 times I was like, oh, the eyes are getting moist.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't want my 3D glasses to get fogged up. So
Yeah,
that
definitely.
happened twice.
Definitely. We actually watched the pre-showing. But it was sad, man. It was sad. Like I love that everybody was so
Silent.
Yeah. Dude, like no one
theater.
knew how to, like they were just going through it, right?
Clear.
Like
Yeah.
even in moments where you should cheer, it was like I'm just experiencing it and just having and dealing with everything. And even my brother went to go see it as well, and he said the same thing. Everyone was silent. There's pin
drop.
You could hear a pin drop, right?
When certain drops of sound.
It was crazy. So and again, I was saying throughout the movie too when we watched it that they don't play a lot of the soundtrack for too long, and when it does happen, it hits really hard. But for most of the scenes, it's just kind of it's happening, right?
Yeah.
So I found that very interesting and a very cool way for Ryan Coogler to just watch the movie and also making it respectful and all the stuff.
Right.
So it's really interesting to see how they did that, right? And how they tackled that, and it still hits really hard, right? But I told you guys when the moment that I think the morning of when we were getting prepared to go see it in the nighttime, I was like, bring your tissue boxes, get ready because this is gonna be one, right?
Exactly, because it's nothing. There's no comparison to, like Iron Man passing because everyone knows that this actual actor is gone.
It's gone, right?
He's not for the plot. He is gone. That's it. You can't reprise the role. Nothing.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the respectful audience.
Yeah.
Like the theater, everybody's
Yeah.
being really respectful to his death.
Yeah.
So I think it's very nice to see.
Yeah.
Very nice to be in that atmosphere where everybody is on the same page without even talking to each other.
Yeah.
Just being on the same page of being respectful to
I think
Chadwick
if you're gonna
Boseman.
go to the Thursday night premiere, you're probably pretty serious.
Yes,
yeah,
we're in it,
you know,
we're-
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I mean, if you're rowdy, you're just disrespectful at that point. Right?
Like once the weeks pass by, you're in the second month of the release. Like I wouldn't be surprised. You get the casuals who are just like, oh, I'll check it out. You know, first one was all right.
I remember when I saw Black Panther, the first one, like 4 times in theaters, and most of the audiences were really amazing. Right? Yeah. But there was one audience that I remember having like a weird experience with some of the things that some of the characters were saying. They're like, oh, they're saying some really weird things. Yeah. But for the most part, that was like a month and a half after
exactly.
So it's like, okay, but it still doesn't make it right. But it's just like you get the weirder
exactly.
people.
The less of emotional attachment there is to the story or the movie or the characters or even just Marvel, you're gonna get jokes and people who take it less seriously and they're just there to watch a movie.
Right. Yeah, great. Yeah, honestly. So,
just to clarify, if you are gonna go see this movie and haven't seen it yet, don't listen to this.
Watch it first,
and then come back.
I think most hardcore people like us, we would never. Funny enough, we would never listen to our own podcast right away because we would need to watch the movie first. You know what I mean? But there's some people who just pop it on.
So just so if you want the spoilers, all right,
here they come. Right?
Yeah, here they come because I'm gonna say the movie opens up with them acknowledging that Chadwick passed away
by
so it goes in and Shuri is basically trying to solve this. She's looking at his DNA and he's basically dying, and she's trying to fix and she tries to recreate the herb and
the herb that originally turns their people into the Black Panther.
Right, and then so she's doing that. Everyone's going crazy because they're trying to save his life and the Black Panther's life, and the scene follows where her mom comes in and she's still trying to solve it. The herb gets created and it only has a 98% chance of working. Sorry, 70.
It's like low. It's low.
It's 58.
It's low. I think it's like 20, bro.
Was it 20?
It was
low.
It was a low percentage, but she's like, fuck it, I don't.
She wasn't gonna make it in time.
And so it gets created and she's like, okay, let's go. And then her mom comes in and she says, it's over. Right? And that's how the movie opens up.
I
hits you hard from the beginning.
I want to say they did it in such a like jarring way because it's it's pitch silent. Like there's no music, it's just you're just hearing the sounds of her like fidgeting around trying to figure it out. And the camera is shaky. You know what I mean? And it's just you're in it. You're like, oh, this is happening.
And
like,
it opens up. And not to mention, the movie opens up with no soundtrack and it's Chadwick highlight reel of him
instead of like the typical Marvel. Like all the heroes and all, right?
It's all Chadwick, right?
That's with no music. And
I'm
like,
it was so good.
It's crazy, right? So the movie opens up and it's just silent, and it opens up to that scene, and you're just like, oh my gosh. The movie continues the story of Shuri trying to. They go through the funeral. They go through all the emotions that she's feeling, and everyone else as well, through the death of the Black Panther, T'Challa.
Right. Can I say that the funeral? Is all right hopping because when you say the plot, I remember.
It's okay to hop.
Go
on. I thought the funeral was, first of all, the cinematography of the all white dresses and all right, and that even the way that they celebrated their funeral was almost, you could almost be misled to think it's like a happy thing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like the dances and the music. Exactly.
I think it's a cultural thing. I don't want to be insensitive, but I think it is a cultural thing about celebration of life, like celebration of the person's life, as opposed to like a funeral where it's like it's sad
instead of the typical Western all black mournful face.
So before the movie happened. So Chadwick Boseman had an Instagram account, and they don't use it for. They just sometimes will post like, if he won the award, for example, his last performance was for What If, and he got an award for that. So they would post like little highlights of his life. They don't use it to like promote anything else.
No.
So, but on the day of, they actually posted something to tell the audience to wear white on the first day. I didn't get to see it, I would have. But it's basically it's a symbol of purity, peace, and cleansing. And white is often worn for festive occasions in the African culture. This is what they posted. We honor those who have come before us and admiring ourselves in this color, and adorning ourselves in this color. That's what they said.
Like the contrast is it's nice.
So I'll go into detail on more of that as well later in the movie as well. But so they were wearing all white and they post this and they're like, this is very interesting, right? So as the movie progresses, you're getting Shuri's like and Wakanda's next steps. What are they going to do? What's happening? And when the movie continues, we fast forward to this scene that's happening in the middle of the ocean, where these the U.S. is the government or whatever.
I think it's the French. Everybody wants a peace, but the French are
the nation.
So they send these marine people into the ocean because they found. The whole movie there's a scene where they're in a conference where they're saying we need Wakanda's resources, and it kind of goes back into when T'Challa was saying we're gonna stand on our own, and that it's the build bridges instead of barriers. Reference,
instead of being isolated, they were like we're gonna help,
right?
We're gonna help out.
But and so it goes back to that where they want to just harness Wakanda's resources and take it all. But then Shuri's mom is like, no, we're not going to do that. Wakanda's, vibranium is something that we keep because we don't know what you guys are going to do.
Exactly.
And then they're like, that's the whole thing. Yeah. So then it goes into the middle of the ocean because they have a machine that can find vibranium, and they found it somewhere else other than Wakanda.
Yeah.
They go into the ocean, and there's some attacks happening, and people disappear, and then they get attacked. The whole boat gets attacked, and we find out it's the Atlanteans coming out to the Talokan, people from Talokan coming out to fight them because they also are trying to protect this thing. Getting ahead of myself. But it's okay. Yeah, as a movie
because it's hard to remember exactly chronologically, right?
Yeah. So then So then after that, I think I'll just go into. I just want to get so we can get to all the ideas. It goes back to Wakanda where her mom and Shuri are having this whole moment together. And so they're just having this nice talk, and then there's they sense something. It's like something's weird is happening. And this is the first meeting of Namor.
Yeah.
And he comes in and he's like, oh, this is a pretty place.
Walks up out of the water when no one's supposed to be able to enter Wakanda.
And he comes in and he's like, oh, you guys get to live peacefully here and stuff like that. And no one's bothering you. It's very interesting. Yeah. And you don't have to hide.
Yeah.
And then he basically drops off the machine that can find the vibranium, and he's like, all right, you guys find the scientist that made this, and I'll leave you guys alone or whatever. Because he doesn't want to showcase himself to the world. Then Shuri goes on this mission to find the scientist with the main general of the Dora Milaje.
Oh my goodness, what's her name? What's her character's name?
I always forget her name.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
She's Michonne. It's Michonne.
It's Michonne from The Walking Dead. I love her to death. I think she's great.
Yes. She's a great casting.
She's such a good actor, man. Such a good actor.
Yeah, Okoye is going with Shuri to go to the U.S. to find this scientist, and lo and behold, it's Riri Williams from MIT, and she's this young 16, 17-year-old genius prodigy who's Shuri's. She's like, oh, look, I can cross as a uni student. Just let me go and talk to her. She comes in, and Riri immediately knows that it's Shuri. She's like, oh my gosh, right? And she's freaking out, and then has a whole kind of Peter Parker little thing there, but it's really interesting. So Riri's like, she's like, oh, Shuri's talking to her, and she's like, oh, you made this? Like, how long did it take you to make this? She's like, oh, like, a month. And she's like freaking out because Shuri's also a genius too. Yeah. And she's like, it took you a month to make this? Mm-hmm. Like, what's going on, right? So
I think it was like a few months.
It's a few months, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
But so she basically has to convince her to come with her to Wakanda, and she's like, I can't just leave school, whatever. And then I think at that point, Okoye comes in, and she's like, I gave you 5 minutes, and they end up taking her. They end up going to her garage where she has to get the computer that has all the information of the machine and stuff like that. And she's like, you just left this in your garage.
Exactly. She doesn't realize she's a target.
A target right now. Yeah.
Because Namor pretty much is out to get her.
Yeah.
But also even
he's giving her
the military.
And then
people out to get her. Yeah.
So then we find out that they're trying to escape, but then they get attacked. They get ambushed, and Riri gets her suit on. They get the car and they leave, and then they get attacked by the Atlanteans.
Yes.
The people from Talokan.
Yeah.
And so after that, they end up kidnapping Shuri and Riri, and Okoye has this epic badass fight on the bridge. Really sick. And then she ends up failing at protecting them. But Shuri wants to go with them to go see, to go with Riri. She's not gonna let her go alone. So then she goes. There's a whole thing of her exploring Talokan
and getting to learn their culture, getting to learn, hear the story behind Namor's. Like so his whole thing is he was born like 400 years ago or something like that, before Spanish colonization, and his mom ingested.
Oh, they were dying because the people that were trying to colonize them brought smallpox. And then in order to survive, one of their elders said you have to drink this thing. Yeah. But she was scared for her baby.
Was it vibranium? Or it had vibranium?
It's the flower.
Oh, it's the flower. Okay.
Yeah. And then so they end up finding a flower in this place. That's a little nod to how Wakandans get their power as well. After that, she's concerned about her baby, and they end up convincing her to take it. She gives birth to this child who is very different than the other people.
Wings on his feet.
Yeah, once they take the thing, they all die, and they turn blue.
Yeah.
And then they can't breathe air anymore.
And then they evolve to have kids who can only live in the ocean. Without a breather outside.
But Namor is very special in the sense that he can go on land and he doesn't need to wear a suit or a mask. And he ends up saying that he's a mutant.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
he says that.
Yeah. In the in his quote, so he says that.
Yeah.
Not knowing anything about that yet in the universe, but he says that, and because he's special, he's not blue. He has a different. He has ears. He has wings on his feet. He has this whole thing. So while she's exploring that and getting the history of Talokan, we get fast forward to her mom trying to go ask Nakia. Sorry, Nakia. She goes to ask Nakia for her help to go save Shuri, because she doesn't know if she's alive or she's dead. She doesn't know, but they got a reading from her earrings and they end up finding her. And then she goes on a mission to save them. She saves them, but Shuri doesn't want to cause a war. That's the whole thing. They're saying that if you kill the scientist, or then we can stop this whole thing because we want people to find us, and there's a whole thing. But Namor's whole thing is that he wants to form an alliance with Wakanda and all this stuff.
And he wants to protect his people.
Which is why he has similar interests to Wakanda.
So they end up saving Nakia. They end up saving Shuri. They go back to Wakanda, and then Namor has this whole thing where he has to, because they took the scientist, he has to end up starting something.
Exactly. He has to say, show of power.
Yeah.
Show of
so
power,
he goes, they end up having a battle, but he just goes to show, hey, if you guys want to start this, you guys already started something. Her mom ends up
drowning
away,
while saving
the
Riri.
Queen of Wakanda.
Ends up passing away. After that, Shuri has to figure out what she can do. M'Baku ends up taking over the reins of Wakanda and trying to, but they have a whole thing.
Reel it in,
because they need to figure out something, and they just destroyed Wakanda, right? They end up going with M'Baku to his place and setting up camp there where it's safe,
like a refugee,
in the mountains.
Take refuge.
And then Shuri ends up, and with the help of Riri, they end up figuring out a way to recreate the herb. Shuri becomes a Black Panther, shows up and says, "We need to, prepare for battle." And then they end up doing a whole fight on a ship. They do that whole scene.
She fights Namor
on a beach and
wins, but decides to spare him his life.
Spare his life, and then they end up forming an alliance, and
we'll go there. We'll end it there.
We'll end it there.
We'll end it there. Thank you, Dome. Thank you, Dome, for that.
It's a 2 hour, almost 3 hour movie into 10 minutes. So
it's a lot for Dill to talk about, but I think it's necessary.
There's just so much things.
It lays the bare bones. It lays the bare bones.
It's good because we do that because we want to lay the bare bones for everybody. Then we can go into detail. Then we can talk more about all the little things, right?
That's Black Panther. Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda Forever.
There are some spoilers in there, but
it's basic.
It's the bare bones. You'll still be,
So honestly, guys, is there anything that in particular you guys want to talk about or discuss first? I really first off, this movie to me, I like that it was a story about Shuri and her grief, her dealing with her grief, and dealing with her anger and her need for revenge for her brother.
Yes.
That is, and her family.
And her family,
Right, because her mom dies, right?
Yeah.
So it's a constant battle, internal battle for her to fight off that anger that she has and be able to grieve her brother properly and her mom properly.
Right.
There's so much pain in this movie that she's dealing with in such a short amount of time.
Yes.
That like you could see the frustrations on her you know, and
because her brother was the calm, collected one, and she was always the jump ahead, you know, like, you know, just move forward, you know,
let's do it
without thinking.
And you could see that, like, because she's still young, right? She's still learning, and you know, T'Challa was like, he learned, like in that movie, he's still learning to be king, but he still has a foundation of what I need to do and what I can be and stuff like that. His whole arc was, how do I be king and how do I lead my people? Yeah. Her whole thing is, I'm forced into leading her people, forced into being the, you know, there and trying to
after losing her family,
losing her family and stuff like that, and being a succession of the queen and stuff like that, right? She's a princess.
Mm-hmm. There was a lot of pressure on her.
Yeah.
It's too much emotions that she had to balance.
Yeah. Also, the fact that she failed at saving, she thought that she should be the one to save her brother, and she couldn't. Right? There's a quote in the movie where she says, she's like, "Why did they give me this talent if I wasn't able to save him?" Right? And it's like it's very deep for her, and it's like like you said, the fact that they managed to not only honor Chadwick, but it's Shuri's story of all this pain. It's kind of like how we lost T'Challa too. It's like you can sympathize with her so much, right? Because you're like, we wanted Chadwick to continue the legacy of like him being the Black Panther, right? And it's like we can't see that. And it's very amazing, and then the acting is phenomenal.
You can tell they channeled the real grief into the characters, right?
It's so good. Yeah, so good.
Yeah, don't mind me if I tear up while talking.
No, you can.
But it's just like it's just so it's so like Letitia Wright just slaps it.
She killed it. She killed it. Yeah. Because when you think about it, it's not easy to be defaulted. You weren't cast to be the one to carry a Marvel movie. You were
in the future, like so in the story, like in the future, yes,
right.
But you weren't like
this wasn't the plan. It wasn't the immediate plan. Like, it was the like I'll be the cool sister for a couple movies.
Yeah, for
like
a couple
we got a franchise going, and this has got to be on my shoulders now. Like for the movie and
the character,
Wakanda, you know,
That's what's cool is that you guys are right. Like the actual feelings that they're feeling in real life. Yeah. They're able to channel that into their acting because their characters are experiencing identical feelings, right?
Yeah.
So it's really cool. I really like that. I also like because you mentioned how in the first Black Panther movie the focus was about T'Challa trying to get into this the role of being a king of Wakanda and leading, right? And I think it's really cool that before that he actually struggled a little bit with the vengeance.
Yeah.
Because in Civil War, for those of you who are into the MCU and you guys watch Civil War, you know that Black Panther, it's his dad, the king dies.
Yeah.
T'Chaka dies, and T'Challa, Chadwick Boseman's character, goes on a hunt for the Winter Soldier because the whole thing was that Winter Soldier.
I'm gonna kill this guy. It's over.
It was vengeance. Right. And in the end, he learns that it's not about vengeance. Right. But it was his little journey of learning to forgive or he was grieving his dad in his own way in that moment too. So it's kind of a parallel here too. Is that Shuri's having her moment of vengeance, her moment of revenge and anger, but then after in the end, she learns to accept that this is how she should handle it. Right. And this is the best way to deal with her grief, and that she needs to face up with it as opposed to trying to avoid it and do it in this way. Right.
Yes.
So she is like her brother, right?
Yeah. She is like her brother.
Well, let's not forget that when she had the herb, she didn't see her family. She saw Killmonger.
Yeah.
Because she has more in common with Killmonger a little bit there.
I was going to slowly...
Yeah. You're going to slowly drop that in?
No. But yes. Yeah. She sees not only... in the ancestral plane, does she want to see her mom?
Yeah,
and she goes in, and she sees the guy that went to Wakanda to to just start a war
or like to change everything.
To change the whole thing of like we're the powerful ones, right? And she sees him and she's like, why am I seeing you, right? And like again, this I'm gonna go toss back into the fact that what is Killmonger wearing in the scene?
White,
all white,
yeah,
right? And it touches back on that post that they why they were white, and it's also like a subtle acknowledgement of the same thing that this character is wearing that too. You know, there's grief in the movie. It's like a what's it called, breaking the fourth wall type of thing, right? But yeah, so she sees Killmonger, and it's like why am I seeing you, right? And it's because in her heart she was seeking vengeance.
Yeah.
Right? So she sees him.
Because he became the Black Panther out of vengeance.
Yes, exactly.
And that's what she was trying to do too. Yeah.
So that's what her heart was feeling at the moment. And so when she comes back, they ask her, like, who did you see? She's kind of like, I didn't see nobody. Nobody showed up.
Yeah.
And she's also kind of like, at the same time, her character was trying to seek the elders because she wants guidance, right? But out of all the people she sees, it's Killmonger. And she's like, what is going on? Like,
by the
what
way,
do you want from me?
I don't think anybody expected Killmonger to be sitting on that chair.
No, man. I expected her mom. And I was like, and also, I think it also hit, you're not thinking, like, you're just experiencing this movie and you're just not really, any of the cameos that's happening, you're just like, okay, you know, it just and you're like, oh my god, wait, we're in a Marvel movie, I forgot, you know, but like you're just watching and you see him and you're like, he came back for this. I didn't see anything about this, no spoilers about that at all.
Like the only way he would come back is through something like that because he's dead, right?
Yeah,
so,
Well, the thing was, I had many thoughts of how they would handle this movie. And I one of the things I thought of, again with the stories too, is Shuri taking the mantle of Black Panther. But I also thought, are they gonna just kill off Killmonger?
Oh, because are they gonna never clearly killed?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or is Shuri gonna save him and then they can utilize him for something, whatever, and make him like a high general or something? I don't know. They could have went that way.
But I appreciate that they didn't go the villain gets redemption arc.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was, to his core, believed in the things he was doing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? He believed, and he wasn't just gonna, in the last moment of, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even in the
original Black Panther, he says to Wakanda, he says to T'Challa, he's like,
"Let me die with my ancestors."
Let me die with my ancestors.
Yeah.
It's because even though T'Challa was giving him a redemption, he was like, "Nah,
I still believe in what I believe in.
Nah, that ain't me.
Just put my ashes in the ocean."
Yeah.
But like I was gonna say is, it's good that even with his pure white and she's seeing him in the ancestor. Is that
I think the pure white was a fourth wall thing. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. What I was gonna say is that it's good that he didn't change somehow, like being dead. He didn't change his motives again. He's still you gotta do like little cuz you gotta do it like with vengeance.
Right. It's really
He's consistent.
Well, and the thing is, his beliefs weren't all entirely wrong. It's just very extreme. Right. So he had the way that he was thinking is that's why I think he believes in the way that he why he did that, right? But he's not going to change his core values because of like
just because he died,
just because he died.
Exactly.
Yeah. So and then also like he didn't have the moment to be with T'Challa for that long to be like, hey man, you know, maybe you're they even have a little quote with each other. It's like
they do,
where even T'Challa takes a little piece of him, his like, we shouldn't be, but at the same time, there's a better way to do this, right? That's where the arc goes for him. That's why that leads to the line of we should build bridges, not barriers, right? So
definitely.
Really, it's
really good. I like that Killmonger showed up. That's perfect. That's perfect way to describe Shuri's feelings and her emotions in that moment.
Her arc, it's very clear.
Very clear.
And like you're feeling everything that she's feeling, and it's just like it's so well done that you're like, wow, right? Let's go into that badass fight on the bridge.
Oh yeah.
Let's go into that because that's the first seeing of Ironheart.
Yeah.
With her suit. Her first her Mark 1.
And then on the bridge or on the ship?
On the bridge. Let's go bridge first.
I thought they don't show you. Oh, it's not done. It's not done yet.
She's flying.
She's flying, but it doesn't cover her face and stuff like that.
It's Mark 1 for her.
I swear it didn't cover her face until the last battle.
I think I'm saying that she flies with the ship. She's not Ironheart yet. That's her name of the character.
Oh, yeah.
But
you're talking about okay. I know what you're talking about. The suit that she built.
Yeah,
initially
the flight suit.
Yeah. Okay.
The flight test suit.
That's what it's called.
Sorry, confusion. I thought you were talking about the actual Ironheart.
No.
Iron
The
Man.
characters. Yeah. So she uses that, and then they go when they escape on the bridge. And you get that epic fight scene. And it's just so it's just so sick. Like
Michonne.
Yeah, it's just so well done, right?
Michonne.
She gets to fight with the spear. The way they use the spear,
But then she's taking on all of the people from before, and you're like. They're like, oh, this is gonna be quick.
Yeah.
And then she handles them.
She kills them.
But they come back to life, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, this is such an epic scene. And then it's also it's a parallel to the scene in Korea in the Black Panther because they drop the one of the soundtracks there. And I told you, like in the movie, they don't play songs often. It's just kind of just very silent for a lot of the scenes. Even usually you would hear like a little theme of them doing a walk-in scene for like the next section for an action fight. They don't play audio there. It's just them walking in. It's just very silent. But when the soundtracks hit, it's like, whoa, that's bumping. That's crazy, right?
Really good.
And then so that fight scene was just so epic. Okoye just goes ham.
The choreography there, the just the effects there, oh my God, Michonne. I think it's the Walking Dead training that gets her.
She's definitely had a lot of fight choreography.
Yeah, choreography training. She's badass, man. She's badass.
She does. Yeah, such a wicked scene. And then the first elements of Ironheart are there. You get to you're like, wait, why does she have an Iron Man suit? What's going on? Right? It's really cool.
It's cool, man. You get to see her like, clearly she's a genius. Yeah. She's a kid and she made this suit. Yeah. And it's
she like, made an arc on the board there's an arc reactor. Right. Shuri was like, you made an arc reactor? Like,
that's crazy.
How did you do this? Right.
Yeah.
And
pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Awesome.
So that scene was
I was locked into that scene.
Yeah. It's also like Shuri's it takes a moment for her to get to the end where she gets her suit, right? And when she gets her suit, her suit looks so sick.
It looks really sick.
It looks bits of gold on it.
Yeah. And I think I
very special to her too.
Yeah. I think that if because T'Challa like Chadwick's suit is the silver, right? And one of Black Panther's most iconic suit is the gold. And who do we see has that first is Killmonger, right? He takes the gold because he's like, oh, that's badass, right? He takes that one. And then, Shuri gets that and she gets the gold on too. So I think that if, Chadwick had the opportunity, he would have had the gold. Yeah. And it would have been really cool. But they tie in the silver as well to it. And it's like, it's really special when she gets it. It's really, really cool,
Right.
Like she starts off kind of taking on the Killmonger mindset of vengeance, but then she ends off kind of taking on T'Challa's noble, noble. What's it called when, like it was like what did Killmonger call T'Challa's feeling, or like he considered T'Challa, was it noble? He considered
there's a word.
There's a word that he described T'Challa for like. He kind of called him weak in a way for forgiveness. Like he was like forgiving. And he's like, you're not like your brother. You're more like me. Yeah. Your brother was forgiving. Your brother is like this, but you want vengeance like me. So it's kind of like, it's cool that it was a little bit of tying in both. Yeah. Both. Yes. Yeah. Like Killmonger and T'Challa, she was kind of both, where she was seeking vengeance, but then in the end she chose to be forgiving. She chose.
And she even before, like when she was choosing to spare Namor.
Yeah.
When she getting like a little bit of flashbacks of her brother?
Yeah.
There's a couple times where they flashback to T'Challa, and it's always like
I think the end was when they flashback the most.
That's when they do it the most.
Yeah. I don't even remember. Did
she didn't just stand there with the spear. It wasn't just that.
You know what? She flashed back to the parallels between Wakanda and Tenoch.
Right. Like the people. Like
there was some scenes of T'Challa in there, though.
I don't remember. I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But I don't remember that. But regardless, it was about like, I think the main thing there for her was realizing that Namor is
there's honestly a similar story there. There's a loss and pain between both, and there's no solution in me killing you. We should just we should continue and work together instead of adding more pain, right?
Yeah, the vengeance cycle just continues. If I kill you, right
exactly.
now.
Any hood gang movie,
So,
I want to mention because we shouldn't forget, but the actor for Namor, he went crazy.
He went crazy
too.
He's
that guy's sick. That guy's sick. What's his actor's name?
Tenoch Huerta. Tenoch Huerta.
Tenoch Huerta.
Yeah.
Huerta.
Tenoch.
Yeah, he killed it though.
No, he killed that, man.
So we, not to mention, we had to go back. So we're mentioning a lot of Wakanda. This is like half and half Wakanda and Talokan.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't know how they managed to balance the two and give you, and it's cool because, Black Panther, when they brought it out, they added culture to the MCU. Like that was very special. That they they did it in such a good,
almost all black cast. You know what I mean?
Right. And they
so
did,
well, right?
and it's like a beautiful story. They did they nailed everything, costume design, soundtrack.
If Black Panther doesn't do well, you don't get Shang-Chi. You know what
exactly,
I mean?
Right. So not only did Black Panther, like they do Wakanda, they brought it back. You get the same Wakanda stuff, but they added a Mayan culture to it, a Spanish culture
which
to it,
which I think is important because how many people just call people from Mexico Spanish? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though they had a long-standing culture and history and to their people.
Aztec?
Yeah, exactly. Like they have a whole thing that existed before these people came from Spain and provided and caused sickness and caused all this stuff, right?
The colors.
Yeah.
And not to mention too, like I said, I was telling Jay when we watched Black Adam, right? There's a funny a way that you see Dr. Fate in that movie, and you immediately connect it to Doctor Strange because they look the same. They're fighting the same way. Everything's the same. But in this movie, they did a really cool differentiation of Talokan and Aquaman. It's not the same. It's similar. Like it's still underwater city, whatever, like that. But it's dark. It's like. It's not. They're under the sea. There's no lights.
They're riding whales
but
and
it's
sharks
still
and shit.
Dark and stuff. It's like really because it's deep ocean.
Yeah, which makes sense.
And I told you guys before, that's the one thing I'm most scared of in the world is like the deep ocean.
Deep dark ocean. Yeah.
Right. And they do it, and it's like it looks and it's so cool, and like you get all of the costumes and everything there, and they add more culture to the movie and to the MCU, and it's more history, right, and more lore and everything. And you get more of it through the story, and you're seeing all this new different places, and you're like, this exists in on Earth right now, like in the MCU, and it's like it's really cool to see that, right?
I like when they're introducing a new culture. And I like that a lot.
And so they're also showing a remember the whole big thing too with how Wakanda was that it changed the perspective on what an African society can look like, right? Rather than the stereotypical bad way they look at it, like, oh, it's wild out there, and they don't have a civilized society and stuff. They showed a high-tech society in which they're all succeeding and they're all doing really well. And so it's kind of like an underwater version of these are a lot of people look at South America, Central America, like these countries, and they think, oh, it's just poverty and gang wars and stuff, and they have a thriving society underneath the water,
and he creates a vibranium sun, that he gave his city, right?
I think that's amazing. It's amazing. But the showing the similarities of the two cultures, but then also they're very distinct in the way that they
there's a contrast.
Exactly, right? There's a huge contrast there.
But it's and the thing too is like they make it like I think when I discussed Nightmare Before Christmas, they give you the clear indication what is Halloween Town and what is Christmas Town. The colors and everything, immediately where you are. Right? They do this as well. So it's a cinematography thing. It's a whole design thing, right? It's underwater. It's obvious, right? But at the same time, there's a whole like the way that the jewelry is, the way that they nailed everything to give you the idea of what it is, right?
Beautiful.
I would say though they did my man dirty with the brief. I don't think he needed to wear the brief all the time because Namor has some pretty dope suits. He's supposed to have a trident, but I told you they're doing a differentiation. They don't want to give him so you can compare
Aquaman.
They did my man dirty with the brief.
No.
Listen, bro.
He was confident. 400 years of briefs.
I'm not saying it's not cool. It's still like
you a boxer man?
that's just one of his.
You a boxer man?
I'm a boxer man, bro.
You're a boxer brief man?
I'm a boxer man. I'm not a boxer brief man.
You're a boxer man?
I'm a boxer brief man.
Nobody needs to know all this. Nobody needs to know all this.
No one needs to know all this. But
I'm a boxer brief man.
I'm with you. 2 against 1. You weird.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Listen, I've been a boxer man my whole life.
Buddy, for the room.
He didn't do it.
Yeah, I don't think he needed to wear the brief all the time, but that's one of his like main costumes.
Yeah,
okay.
But he has some pretty dope. Like I wanted him to have some armor.
Yeah.
I wanted to like he had the necklace, which is cool.
Yeah, they just show him with the head.
The Mayan head piece.
When he sits
which
on
is cool, the throne.
When he sits on the throne, that was a 16.
But I wanted him to have like when he went to war at the end.
Yeah.
I know. I thought through it. It's not a Namor movie, but he's still the main villain of the movie. You got to give him. Killmonger had that badass gold suit.
Yeah.
You got But again, I think they don't want to drive too much emphasis on him.
Right.
They wanted it to still be Shuri's story and all this stuff. That's why when she gets the suit, you're like, whoa, right? But when he's wearing his brief, you're like,
I guess. Wearing the brief. Like if he's wearing the briefs, you'll be looking more at her suit than his briefs.
Yeah. So
you be peeking at those briefs.
The green brief?
The green brief?
The green brief, bro.
I remember. Because when he walks out of the water, they always do a from the bottom up, and you get
the brief
from the thighs.
You get his little
the briefs.
You get his little ankle wings, definitely. So going back, we kind of digress, but I really like the digression here because it was relevant. But then going back to when Shuri and Namor, when Shuri had Namor, she was getting ready to kill him. I really like the way that they. Great directing there, and editing and all those things. The way that they flash back to Wakandian kids, and then you see Talokan kids, her view, right?
Yeah.
And then her upbringing, and then you see like his upbringing, and then like the parallels between them, and that they're the same people.
Yeah.
They're trying to have the same. They're
trying to do good.
They're trying to do good. They have good intentions for their people.
Yes,
and that's the thing that they shouldn't be fighting about, right? Because they have the same intentions. They're doing the same thing, right?
Namor still has some plans for Wakanda, but
of course
we'll get into that.
Of course.
But I would also want to mention
like
too. I don't know if you guys know, but comic book wise, but they touch on it when he says he's a mutant, right? And the cool thing about that, and really deep, that's why it's even more epic, is comic book wise, Namor was said to be the first mutant.
400 years.
Interesting. That is interesting.
But he's not like Apocalypse is the first.
Apocalypse
mutant,
is
right? But in comic book lore and everything, like he was considered the first mutant. So the fact that he's the first person to say I'm a mutant in the MCU, is pretty big.
I like that.
So that's kind of cool.
I wonder if people caught that. Because as soon as he said it, like it's like I'm like, yo. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting that they did that, and it's cool that Ryan Coogler also touched on that.
Right.
Now, another thing I want to touch on is the secret ending here. In the secret ending,
where they go to Haiti?
They go to Haiti.
Haiti. They pronounce it like Haiti.
Yeah, and
I'm pretty sure that's the proper pronunciation.
Oh, yeah. They're not gonna say that.
So they go, and Shuri goes to visit. Oh my God, my brain. Nakia. She goes to visit Nakia because she's living there, right? And she has a moment there where she goes and she says, Nakia says, I've prepared everything for you. Let's go. And she's like, no, I think I should do it alone. And what that is saying is she basically set up the to go like the burial grounds and all this stuff, whatever. So she goes to the fire pit and she burns the clothes that she wore to T'Challa's funeral. And she has a moment where she reminisces on him, and there's a whole flashback for us and for her of all of the moments in Black Panther that he was in, all of the little moments they had together. It's very cute, very adorable. Cried like 5 times. And it's great, and it's so beautiful. The way they did it. No soundtrack. Silent.
I love it.
Once that scene ends, Nakia comes in, and she has a little boy with her, and he sits down. She's like, "Who's this kid? What's going on?" And she ends up saying that this kid is T'Challa's son, and she named him after T'Challa, so his name is T'Challa, and it's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
it's pretty nuts.
are they trying to introduce another like Black Panther? Are they potentially leaving that room open for another T'Challa?
Yeah, so the story of Black Panther actually, so T'Challa's actual story in the comic books, he doesn't grow up in Wakanda. He actually grows up in... So Ryan Coogler, also to mention, he has a video talking about the reasons why he was doing certain things and stuff like that. But to go back to what I was saying, T'Challa actually grows up in the States and he goes back to Wakanda. So he has a different perspective on life and everything and all the stuff. Our T'Challa in the MCU is from Wakanda. He has this whole thing. He grew up in Wakanda. But so Ryan Coogler wanted to do that story, but he's like he couldn't do that because also he's a kid from where is he? He's from Chicago, right?
Oakland.
He's from Oakland. Yeah, from Oakland, and
that's why he put Killmonger.
Yeah, that's why he put Killmonger, and that's why they go back to Oakland. The movie in Black Panther opens up in Oakland. There's a whole thing, but so with this new character, so T'Challa Jr. I'll say that just so you're confused. TJ. TJ Henderson. Yeah. Smart young gentleman. Yeah. So he wanted to do this story, but he's going to do it with this kid. Yeah. Now, obviously, they're doing the Young Avengers thing. They're setting up this whole thing. So he's going to be he's basically going to do that story, but with T'Challa Jr. That's what he's going to try and do, which is pretty cool. That's pretty interesting. And he's going to tackle that whole thing of him trying to, because he's basically the successor. Right. And where did the movie end in Black Panther 2?
In Haiti.
No, but so M'Baku, they have the ceremony where he's like, challenge me, right? For the throne. Yeah. They're going to set up a whole storyline probably where he's going to grow up and basically challenge M'Baku for the throne. And they're going to do that whole thing. But he's has to grow up a little bit first.
It's going to be a time skip.
He's going to have to grow up.
It's pretty cool. They're going to do that. So it's going to be a pretty epic story for the next steps of Wakanda's story. And we don't get like... With the time like spacing of Wakanda, of Black Panther and Black Panther 2, we're probably gonna get it like a little bit into the future. But we're gonna go on a little bit of Shuri adventures first. We're gonna go on some Ironheart adventures. So there's gonna be a lot of cool stuff in between. But it's really cool that they started setting that up. Right. Also, Nakia and Black Panther, their relationship. It's funny because Black Panther's real wife is Storm. I don't know if you know that.
Storm from X-Men?
Yeah, it's supposed to be Storm. Yeah.
Well,
so
awkward.
It's pretty awkward. But of course they didn't have it at the time. Yeah. So I wonder how they're gonna do that in the future. But it's pretty interesting because the kid is supposed to be Storm and Black Panther's kid, and he has like these Storm powers. His name is Azazi, I think his name is, and it's pretty interesting. Yeah. So but. Again, now they have the X-Men and they're going to do that in the future. Right. I wonder what's going to happen there. Yeah. It's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but the fact that they put him in, that's also I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that is very interesting.
That they did that. Yeah.
You were going to say something?
No.
I was just going to say that I also think it's an important, aside from just like the future of movies and continuations, important to obviously like a version of him that still lives on, you know what I mean, in the sun.
Oh, good that you mentioned that,
right?
Because I have something to touch.
Okay, hold that.
I'm gonna hold that.
And then also, Shuri no longer has to feel like doesn't have anyone who's her family anymore.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
And that's her direct relative.
Yeah, direct relative.
And that's why her mom in the line says, "Did you take it?" And she says, "All my family's gone, not that they're dead."
Because she's met him,
right? That's so she chooses her words there very specifically. But you said he lives in you, right? He lives, right? Yeah. There's actually a direct comparison of Black Panther. A lot of people do this
to with Lion King.
No, it's not a joke.
I believe you.
So
I can laugh and believe you.
Sorry, this movie also has that too. Yeah. Like with Lion King 2. Like there's a lot of different comparisons.
He lived in you.
He lives in me. Anyway, but yeah, so it's pretty cool that they
I think that's
has that.
That's very cool.
I think someone made like a mock poster of the real Lion King movie.
They rearranged the characters or what?
No, they changed the color of Simba to be a panther with purple eyes, and it's stepping into the paw print. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Because that's going to be young T'Challa, right? That's going to be his thing.
Right.
So awesome. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Any themes and he really.
Well, we've covered interspread.
We covered a lot
on grief and
we covered a lot.
Yeah.
So
and colonialization and all these things. You know,
yeah.
We didn't say the word, but that's what we mean.
That's pretty much
what we mean.
Yeah. It's there. You know.
I mean, Shuri keeps saying my favorite colonizer, and then they
the quote. One of my favorite quotes
to the Hobbit.
To Martin Freeman is the quote where she's like, "Oh, colonizer in chains." Didn't
now I've seen
everything. Oh my god, that's funny, man.
I love Martin Freeman just eats up being the butt of the jokes. You know, he's always been the butt of the jokes.
That's fine.
He's always been the butt of the jokes. He's got the face of
they're
making fun of me.
But I'm
I'm allowed it.
Yeah, because he has a connection to them that Shuri saves his life, man. Right. So also the Val storyline is pretty interesting to see where that heads and leads in the future, and I think I've given too many spoilers for the future of the MCU.
Some people are like, well, you know what? So many people I've heard don't know anything about any of that. So I think it can give them some guidance into why these things are.
One of you said that you knew some people that are kind of confused about a lot of the things.
And
they don't know what to say. So I would say the Val storyline is they're making a Thunderbolts movie, and the Thunderbolts movie is gonna have what's it called, the Red Avenger in it, which is Black Widow's dad. So if you there's a lot of things that tie in here. There's a lot of people that skip some things and whatever. But her sister is Yelena is gonna be in it. You're gonna get the fake Captain America. You're gonna get I'm not gonna say names right now because my brain is I'm thinking of just. Too fast. But the Red Hulk, you're gonna get the Red Hulk because they just casted Harrison Ford as because the guy that played him originally passed away. I don't know if you guys know that. It's very sad. But so they got him, and they're making this team, and the future. Her whole thing is we don't know what her goals are yet, right? But from what we've seen in the movie, it seems like she wants some vibranium. And with the Thunderbolts movie, she might be setting up the fact that they're gonna go and do like a covert mission to go take some stuff. Right. I think that's where they're trying to go with that. But we don't know. There might be a whole different thing that we do. But the fact that she's in the Black Panther film kind of gives you the idea that there's a lot of nations that are fighting for vibranium. And I think that's going to be a thing. And maybe in the future, because they have X-Men now, there's also another source material that people would want, and that's adamantium. And now Deadpool is going to be a movie too, with Wolverine, so they might touch on the fact that adamantium exists. That might be in a different universe. We don't know where that's gonna be, when that's gonna take place, right? So there's a lot of and the thing is too, things are all over the place because it's a multiverse now. They gave you that idea. This is the multiverse saga. So eventually, when they do Ant-Man, it's all gonna connect, and things might blow up because a lot of things are happening in these movies, but they're eventually gonna connect. You just have to enjoy the ride for now. But and then see the storylines and as well, they're taking from a lot of different comic books. So it's like they can go any what way direction, right? Like I just said, T'Challa is not the direct Storm and T'Challa's son. It's Nakia's son.
They're not directly copying from the comic books. They never have.
They're kind of doing their. That's why I told you the 1,999 thing was actually pretty cool, because the MCU is its own thing, right? But now Kevin Feige said no, it's what is it, 5.2, the original the comic book realm, and it's like, wait, you can't do that because there's not things that are happening comic book wise, right. So it's very weird, right? But he's Kevin Feige is the god, so you gotta put your faith in him. There's a lot of spoilers that I don't want to say because some people haven't seen some things here, so woohoo.
There's a lot and I think it's perfectly fine to talk about future plans that MCU might be doing, because a lot of people might be interested in those kind of things, and they also it's cool to kind of hear some other some different perspective on what the MCU is doing right now, right?
It's also very cool because they're adding these characters in it that they just put them in, like Riri Williams is in the movie, right?
Ironheart.
Some people don't have any idea, why does she have an Iron Man suit? What's going on? But if you know, right? But she's gonna have her own show. They're gonna describe some stuff, but I don't think that they're gonna do this with her character. But one of the cool things about her origin story is that, which I think that they're gonna do with Peter, but I don't know when they're gonna do this yet. But I told you, we were talking about a long time ago when they did Far From Home. That whole story revolved around the Edith glasses, right? And the Edith glasses are talked about. They show some photos of it in some of the shows and stuff like that. But those glasses might come back in the future because in the comic books, Tony Stark actually, when he dies, he creates an AI that's him, right? And the Edith glasses might have that on them. We just don't know yet. But Riri Williams' story basically revolves around that AI that helps her do all this stuff. And she talks to him and she does all this stuff with Tony Stark. And he's supposed to mentor her.
Right.
That's her story.
Yeah, we don't know if that's actually going to happen.
But that's not going to happen. Yeah.
He already mentored. He's dead, but he mentored Peter.
But they're probably gonna do the same thing with if they ever bring him back with Peter in the future. He still has the Edith glasses, right? So it'll be really cool to see because that would be awesome if he's the voice. He needs to come back and do a voice for the AI system
for $50 million.
Oh yeah, hell yeah,
I'll do it.
Oh yeah, dude. You know,
Easily,
it'll be so sick,
yeah.
right? So you know, that's gonna be really cool. I think there's a clip of Joe Rogan doing his whole thing. He's like, yeah, you know, there's gonna be an epic fight. And, you know, the world needs its genius again. And you're just going to come in and it's going to be this epic pop. Pop is a WWE term for the crowd going crazy. And he's like, I don't know. It might happen. That's cool. Is that your take? Right? But there's a lot of, again, comic book books or anyone can come back at any time, whatever. Yeah. But the way that they probably tackle him coming back in the future is going to be Secret Wars. It's going to be pretty crazy, right? So it's going to be awesome. To see that in the future.
Very
and the Edith glasses, I can't wait till they bring that back because I remember I think when I watched Far From Home, I was like, no, they're not going to do this now. No way. And they didn't do it because, of course, it's Peter's story. Tony just died. Don't do it now, right? Maybe 10 years from now, they're going to bring it back and do something, right? But
also, Riri, a lot of parallels between her and Iron Man in this movie. For instance, obviously the Iron Man suit, like similar Iron Man suit, but also the making her Ironheart suit, the whole banging in her tank top, banging the clanging her hammer, trying to build her suit. I think that was cool. A lot of parallels there.
I hope they touch on. Yeah, I hope they touch on they most likely will the Ironheart story in her show. So I don't want to say because that's coming out. I'm not going to mention anything there. You guys can enjoy that in the future. But it's gonna be cool. It's cool again. Just enjoy the ride as MCU. Have a good time. And you know, again, if you hopefully you didn't listen to this whole thing and it ruined the movie if you haven't seen it. But like, go see Wakanda Forever. Exactly. And get in for the ride and just enjoy it.
Yep. And there we have it from Marvel fan till we die.
That's what he says at the end of the sample.
Yep. There it is. All right. Anything else, guys? Anything on your mind?
Do we go straight? Oops.
I love this movie.
Oh, we didn't talk about the music.
Oh, motherfucker.
Fire.
Music.
Okay.
Fire.
So, like Bill said, the movie doesn't have, the movie uses a lot of silence because I think a lot of it is paying respect to Black Panther and Chadwick Boseman. But
they only insert, two?
There was
little snippets. And then, but most of it is
like Shuri, like the scene where Shuri and Riri are building their suits.
The Burna Boy song plays.
Yeah, the Burna Boy song plays. Fire song. I will play it, but you go watch it. You listen to it. Tell me what you think, because I love it. Yeah, I think it's great.
That's the thing too. Like I told you guys before in a previous podcast too, is when you're making a sequel, it's like making a sequel to an album, and everyone's like, how's Kendrick gonna make another bomb fire album? And then you listen to it and you're like, how did they do it again? How did they do it? And then they summoned the queen herself.
Rihanna.
They called her. They're like, Riri, can you make something? Not only is the character named after you in the movie, you got to do it. Come out. And also, Letitia Wright is Guyanese. You got to come out and do this, know? And she's like, hell yeah, I'll do it. And she does it. And she makes a bomb track. They play it at the end of the movie. And you're like, wow.
So good.
Of course, The Weeknd, this is a different hit. It's a different hit. The Weeknd song with SZA and Kendrick, obviously that song, All the Stars is a bop and a half. When you hear that at the end of the movie, everyone's like, oh, I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. But then the Riri song hits at the end and you're like, I'm dying. I'm crying.
It's a different tone. Yeah. It's a different mood for the movie. It's not like
the whole movie has different tone.
Yeah, Black Panther 1 with Chadwick Boseman is a badass soundtrack. Yeah. It comes into the club. Weekends play. End of the movie, All the Stars. Right, with Kendrick and SZA.
Honestly, it almost makes you wonder. Yeah, you're right, but it also makes you wonder. the tone of the movie had to basically completely shift the moment. Whatever general draft they had, throw that out.
Exactly. Right? It wasn't gonna be a typical badass. We're gonna play a soundtrack for every walk-in.
Hey, we're epic.
It's not gonna be like that. It's gonna be.
There's a different mood for this and a different. What is the phrase that I'm looking for? But there's they're reading the room of the movie, right? And they addressed it perfectly. I think they did everything.
The feel was great. I loved it. Soundtrack was great. If you like the soundtrack, go on Spotify, listen to it. Yes, I'm promoting it.
Hey, do it, man.
Jackie.
Listen to Spotify. Support Spotify.
All right. Cool. Anything else, guys? Anything else on your mind?
I think
it's good.
Yeah.
Honestly, great. So let's go to our final scores and we'll sum it up. Jay Noon's final score. My final score is a 9.
King Bob with the final score of a 9.4.
And Dill Pickles with a final score of a 10.
Okay, there you go. And the DemBoyz final score is a 9.5. That gets a DemBoyz seal of approval. Gold edition.
Yeah.
Gold edition.
It's gold.
Yeah, like I would say when I was doing the ratings, I was like, I went through it and I was like, I was like around the 9.5.
Yeah.
But I thought about it. I'm like, but they addressed everything,
which is very hard to do. Right.
I think of course, the one is one is a 10 too.
Yeah.
But I think
considering how many obstacles
they had, but the acting was so well done. Yes. Everyone did a good job.
The only doc I had to me was the I felt like the fight against the Tenoch on the ship particularly was anticlimactic. I'm like, y'all just killing each other, and then they just show up and they're like, peace, everybody, we're good. I'm like, we half your bodies are lying in the ocean.
But I think it's just a quick. And then I thought about it too. I'm like, why didn't Shuri say an epic speech? But then he said everything that needs to be said.
Like it was one of those because that part wasn't perfect, but I know what you mean. You can still give it a 10, even if one section you have an issue with.
She just goes Wakanda Forever at that point. I'm like, you didn't say nothing. He's speaking in Talokan.
I'm like there's only 10 of y'all left on the ship.
Blue subtitles.
The Talokan are winning. They can't be happy.
So I think that like that. I agree with you on that.
It's not as important. If it was a movie that with the action and the climax are that important, sure. But the whole movie is really a grief. Getting over the
they could have even just ended that where she says we should go to peace.
And that would have been a better ending.
And that would have been they could just cut from there and then go into the fact that they're leaving or something.
We don't need to show up and say as they're cornering the last few of them.
On the ship.
And they're like, nah, never mind. Peace. That was the only
part. Again, they're probably while editing the movie, they're like, oh, we need something here. This is weird.
I know.
So that's an editing thing. I agree with you on that. There's some little moments too that that happened, but I'm like
overall,
for the most part, overall the way that they addressed Chadwick, the way that
that's good enough.
Letitia Wright's arc, so beautiful. Everything is good. So that's why.
No, that's good reason. That's good reason. All right,
beautiful. Honestly, love this movie so much. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman.
Yes, sir.
You'll forever be missed.
Yeah. And without further ado, Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda Forever.
That's DemBoyz signing off.